It's Nightside with Dan Ray on WBZ, Boston's News Radio.
Thank you, Dan Watkins. About a week or so ago, we had, during the 8 o'clock hour, one of our best guests, I think, in the 8 o'clock hour. It's just a best subject, best issue. We were talking with Richard Weylman. He is a business consultant. He does many things. He speaks publicly. He's written books, 100 Proven Ways to Acquire Clients. He acquire and keep clients for life. And he does a lot, and I really enjoyed him. We were talking the other night about the advances of artificial intelligence, which enables a lot of companies to prevent customers from reaching a human being. And we kind of did a little bit of a riff on the things that bothers us about that. I love the idea of dealing with a human being, whether it's in a supermarket. I try to avoid at all costs the automated checkout, self-service checkout stands or whatever. I'd prefer to go and talk with someone who rings up my groceries, and while I help pack the groceries, we have some great conversations. But try calling a lot of major companies today and try to get to a human being. It's impossible. And that's where Richard and I left off about a week ago, and I think we're going to continue that conversation now. Richard Weylman, welcome back to Nightside. How are you?
Hey, great, Dan. Good to hear your voice. Thanks for inviting me back. Great to be on Nightside.
Well, you were a really good guest, and I felt we didn't have enough time to really get into this. The more I investigated you, you have an incredible background. Besides being an author, I look at all of the companies, the businesses that you have consulted for, and I just want to make sure that we're still on the same page. I think American companies, many of them have gone already to some form of humanoid robots, and it happens to me so often. You pick up the phone, and tonight someone was calling about healthcare, and you just know it's a voice. And it's programmed so that if you say, yes, I might be interested in, well, hold on and we'll get you to customer service. But you're talking to a damn machine.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And that bugs the hell out of me. And you were telling me that the other day, I remembered, I think you said that Delta Airlines is the only major American airline today that actually has human beings respond to their customers?
Well, they're the only ones that are adding individuals. To give you a contrast, American Airlines just cut 650 people out of the customer service department because, after all, you can dial 1-800, I need to talk to somebody at American Airlines, and you're going to get an AI or a chat box of some kind, and they're doing it to, quote, save money to greater profitability. Well, the truth of the matter is, if you call the airline, if you're calling for a refund or you've got an issue, a complex issue, you want to talk to a human being. I mean, if you want to reset your password, great. We can do that online. We can use AI. That's fine. But what Americans done is now cut 650 people out of the customer service department so that you don't get to, it's even a longer wait. Flip that over. Delta, on the other hand, has now installed AI so that when you call, if it's going to be, they'll tell you, the wait time is 6 minutes. If you'd like to not wait, this is the number we've recorded. This is the correct number. To push 1, and we'll call you back in 6 minutes when it's your turn. So they're using it to enhance the experience, which, frankly, I like that, Dan. I'd rather do that than sit on hold for 6 minutes.
Oh, I've done that as well. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, I've done that as well. And then some of these companies, which I'll tell you, the next customer service representative will be with you in 2 minutes. You look down at your clock, 20 minutes later, you're still on hold, and you're listening to that stupid music, which I think they play to make people hang up.
Well, that's exactly right. And when you really cut to the chase, the reality is that simple bots and simple AI can be programmed for basic stuff, account numbers, email addresses, all that stuff. But when you get down to an issue that people want to have a conversation about, or they want to talk about refunds or coupons, or I want to return something, or I've got a billing error, or I don't have, my account, I've tried to log in and it says I don't have an account, or whatever the case might be, or I lost my luggage, we'll go back to the airline. You've got to be able to talk to a human being. And, we've tracked this, I'm involved with the customer experience all over the world. And we know now that about 65% of consumers prefer speaking with a human being when they have a difficult problem or a complex question. They don't want to look it up online, type it in, and hope they get an answer, or call a number and it'll say, how may I help you? And you say, well, I've got a real issue, and you give them about 2 minutes of it, and then they direct you, and you find out, oh my God, that's not a human. That's a AI simply directing me where they think I should go, and that's never where the answer is.
Oh, yeah, I've done that where they'll tell you, you can chat with one of our customer service people. And so you put in, I have a question, something like this. You type, I have a question. What is your question? And then you put in, I want to change my airline flights from Sunday night to Monday morning, flying from Boston to whatever. And then they come back, I don't understand what you need. Could you type that in again? It's maddening. It's absolutely maddening. When you told me about Delta Airlines, I'm now going to go out of my way to, whenever possible, fly Delta Airlines.
It's amazing how they've elevated the experience. Now, here's the bigger part. We'll look at the contrast again. Okay, now we got American, and we all know what's going on there. I've already articulated. Look at United. They've got some issues, too, when it comes to customer experience. Southwest used to lead the charge. They've kind of lost that edge now. Yeah. But the reality is Delta, profitability's up, ridership is up, full flights are up. They're adding more segments. They're adding more flights. They're taking over more landing spots in the airports. And why is that? It's because people will pay more or go, quote, to your point, go out of my way to have an elevated experience. I've flown over 5.5 million, just about 5.5 million miles on Delta. That's how much of a change I've made, Dan. I've flown over 7 million miles, speaking at conferences all over the world. I fly Delta now because Delta, I know they're going to go out of their way to answer the question. It's not just when I fly. It's just if I have an issue, I can go online, but if it doesn't work, I can click a button, and I'm automatically dials me right into the customer service, and I get a live agent.
I have seen this. I have seen this I'm just one person who I don't fly nearly like as much as you do. Okay, I might be on a plane 5 times a year, maybe. So I don't have those experiences. But I remember dealing with American Airlines. This has to be maybe 10 years ago, and so I noticed at that time that a lot of the companies were all taking their customer service accounts offshore. So it's like that Saturday Night Live sketch where the woman from India is, taking pizza orders, answering questions about, yes, your cab will be there. It's a classic sketch on Saturday Night Live. So I got a woman, I'm calling American Airlines, and I got a woman, and I was having a tough time understanding her. So I asked her, because I now have learned that with some companies you can ask for an onshore representative. I'm sure you're familiar with that trick.
That is exactly right.
Okay, so I did not know that was not in my bag of tricks. So I get this woman who's trying, but that's okay. So I said to her, "Where are you located?" And she said to me, and I'm not going to mimic the voice, but she said to me, Dallas, American Airlines is located in Dallas, Texas, headquartered in Dallas, Texas. I said, well, that's not my question. Where are you physically located? And so she repeated what she obviously had been told to repeat. The Dallas, American Airlines is headquartered in Dallas, Texas. And I'm not going to get into what the accent was because it's irrelevant. So finally I said to her, okay, well, let me ask you a different question. What is the name of the Dallas football team, the professional football team in Dallas? And she said to me, why would you be asking me that? And again, in her, with her again, I'm not going to mimic anyone else's voice. I said, because I wanted to give you an easy question. I didn't want to ask you the name of the professional hockey team. And, of course, she hung up on me. But it's so frustrating, Richard. It is so frustrating. Now, I've told one story here of my experience, and I can tell others. But you and I are going to take some phone calls, and let's hear from our listeners. If there's a company that they have had good experience with, let's give that company a kudo. If you've had a company today even where you've just been frustrated and you can't get a human to talk with you, and if it's not important to you, if you think that Richard and I are some form of troglodytes who are trying to take us back into the 17th century, you can make that argument as well. But I just think that this whole idea of artificial intelligence and these chat bots, it's going to hurt the economy. It's going to cost a lot of people jobs, and I hope it costs a lot of the companies that do that profits, and I hope that they're bottom
Yeah, right.
lines.
And Dan, it has a place, Dan. I mean, look what Bezos did. Look at what Amazon. I mean, his whole focus has been to build the most customer-centric company in the world. Now, they just had a record quarter of profits. I mean, look at every number. It was a record. And they would ask him how he did. He said, I installed AI in the back end so we could get the ordering straight, we could deliver, we could get more trucks on the road, more of my people working to deliver and to, quote, handle customer service issues. So as a result of that, the profitability is up. I'll tell you the problem. Too many CEOs, COOs, CIOs, internet officers and internet officials within a company that are really into it. The reality is they think that the way to profitability is to invest only in technology to the absence of an elevated experience. Yet 86%, we just finished this survey, 86% of customers say they want to be able to talk to a live agent, even if they're on a chat bot. If it doesn't answer their question, they want to switch immediately. These guys and gals running some of these companies are not thinking like Bezos is thinking, and he's going to grow his way to profitability. American Airlines is trying to fire its way to profitability. Well, good luck with that.
Well, again, I wish the companies that take their customers for granted, and there's some bad companies. I'm not going to mention the name of this company, but it used to be when you got printer ink for your computers, and the printer the ink ran dry, you would take the cartridge and you return it to this company, and they would give you, by recycling, which is a good thing, the empty cartridges. It's a big company, by the way. And they would give you back, I think, $2. So if you brought back, let's say, 3 empty cartridges, you got $6, which you could use cash. So then what they decided to do was, well, no, we're no longer going to give you cash. You have to go on to our app on our website, and you have to become, a customer, and we will tell you on your website, like a month after the day you actually return the cartridges, that we have credited your account for $6. But that $6 only stays in your account for 2 weeks, and if you don't use within those 2 weeks, it goes away.
Yeah, you know what it is.
And all that is a company screwing their customers. And I now will go to a different company.
Yeah, they're focused on the transaction, Dan. And the truth is, too many individuals running companies don't think of, and even salespeople, they don't think about the LTV, lifetime value of that customer. Oh. And if you elevate the experience, you're a little bit kind, a little thoughtful, a little caring, and a little empathetic, no amount of marketing dollars from another company is going to move them away from you. They're going to be brand advocates for you forever.
We have seen all of these companies over time, Richard, and Coca-Cola had a great product. Then they said, we got a great idea. Let's call it the new Coke. How did that work out? Budweiser, about a year ago, they're still recovering from that stupidity. It's know who your customer base is and provide your customer base with a product that they like and a product that they feel proud to That's just...
Yeah, it's simple. Relationships drive revenue. Build a relationship with your customers. They're not going anywhere. You treat them, or you take them for granted and treat them as a transaction.
What are they teaching these days? What are they teaching, Richard, in business schools? My daughter's a graduate of Harvard Business School, and I hesitate to think what they're learning, but I know with all of these companies that are out trying to drive the bottom line, they're going to drive their companies into the ground. Let's take a break, Richard, okay? I've talked more than I should. I got phone calls already who want to talk to you. 617-254-1030, 617-931-1030. This is your chance to get it off your chest. If there's some company who has just driven your blood pressure off the chart, tell us the story. And if you want to mention the name of the company, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as long as it's accurate. Truth is a defense. I got a couple of more companies I'm going to take a shot at as well. We'll take a quick break. Back with my guest, Richard Weylman, who is a great apostle as far as I'm concerned. He is preaching the gospel of businesses. Take care of your customers. They are what contribute to your bottom line. Don't alienate your customers. So many businesses are doing that right now. We'll be back on Nightside.
You're on Nightside with Dan Ray on WBZ, Boston's News Radio.
My guest is Richard Weylman. Richard, I want to have people tell you stories, and I want you to react, and we're going to start off with Maureen in Brockton, Massachusetts. Maureen, thanks for calling in. You are first up. Go right ahead. You're on with Richard Weylman. Go right ahead, Maureen.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Richard. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
So I actually, for about 16 years, I worked in retail, and part of it I did work customer service. So that was the face-to-face. But then I did transition to a call center job. So again, I have the experience on the customer service end. I totally understand, the examples you're both bringing up, et cetera.
Yep.
But I just wanted to bring up just a quick. My husband will try to call this 1-800 number, and of course, like you said, the prompts are like, what is your, in a few words, what is your question? I just say to him, just say on the phone, customer service, and don't say anything else. Sometimes that will get routed to an actual person. Sometimes it works. I didn't know what Richard thought about something like that.
Richard, what do you think? I think that's a pretty good idea.
It's a great idea of providing the voice recognition on the other side recognizes the word customer, because what most of them are programmed to do is representative, and they'll hear that. What they do is basically put you in a queue. It's a great idea. Don't know that it'll work with every voice recognition software, but it's far better than representative or trying to punch your way through a menu that's so ambiguous that if you push 3 and you should have pushed 4, but 3 sounded like the right option, you're probably better off speaking voice into the phone. That's a great idea. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. I enjoyed your interview last week with Dan. Dan, I know you have other calls. I just wanted to give you a quick call hello. And again, from a customer service point, I totally understand, and I want someone else to call in and share their stories. But thank you for taking my call.
Well, Maureen, I appreciate it very much, and thank you for your experience. And I'll say what I probably do is I say I want to speak to a human being. And Richard has just made the point. I should do what you're doing, saying customer service. And maybe eventually that's a better, find the magic word. I used to say, because I speak in sentences, I would like to speak to a human being. That's what I've always said. Now I realize why they're not responding to that, because they probably don't have the word human being in their itinerary.
A secondary point here is another one that can work, because most now are programmed for the word support, like technical support. Which type of support do you want? So you could say customer service or customer support. More, that may be another word that you could use, or your husband you can use, or a listener, to be able to break through the voice recognition software that'll get you there more quickly in terms of talking to an actual human being. Thank you for that.
That's great. Maureen, love your calls. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thanks for listening
Thank
to
you.
Nightside. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Good night. By the way, Richard, I may be the exception, but when I get phone calls from my listeners, when I get emails from my listeners, I try to respond to them. The only people, and I know that there are some people who say, well, I called you and didn't call me back. Some people have blocks on their phone, and the phones that we use to call out are going to come up as private or secure. So I'd like to mention that now. If people have had trouble getting a call back from me, it's not because I haven't tried. It's because the phones that WBZ have me use are not going to read the phone number. It's just going to say private or secured or whatever, or secure.
Right, and people won't necessarily answer that, or it'll get blocked in depending on the software you have. You're exactly right.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize, and I've had people. I say, well, call. They'll send me an email, and I'll say, well, I saw your phone, but I thought it was spam, so therefore I didn't. And some of them just put you right into their voicemail. So again, that's another way where they try to rig it. I mean, I'm not allowed to give out my cell phone number, and they don't want the cell phone number to be coming up. So, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. It's just
absolutely, yeah.
It's just that made it difficult for people to do business in America effectively. We'll take a quick break. We're coming back. My guest is Richard Weylman. He is He's an expert in doing this. He's a customer service expert, amongst other things. He's an author. His book, 100 Proven Ways to Acquire and Keep Clients for Life, is available. If you go to his website, which is Richard Weylman, Weylman, easy to find. You actually take phone calls from people, correct?
Absolutely. Take phone calls, emails, and like you, Dan, I respond to every single one myself. They come in, and if there anything where somebody has a question, wants to have a comment, wants to ask me about speaking. I speak, many, many times a year as a keynote speaker, or they want to talk about an issue. I respond to every single one of those myself because I just really realize, as you do, that you have to focus on people. And to me, it's all about the relationship that I can build with that constituent. If somebody's taking the time to reach out to me, the least I can do is take the time to reach out to them.
Yeah. My attitude is also that if someone listens to my program, they're my customer. And
Bingo.
And they deserve a response. They're not walking into my store and buying a product like most people think of customers, but in my business, the people who are my customers are people who listen to my program. So, Richard, we'll take a quick break. Got to take a news at the bottom of the hour, and we got a whole bunch of phone calls, as I knew we would. All right, let's keep rolling here. Going to go to Peggy in South Boston. Peggy, I'm sure you're going to have an opinion on a favorite company or a not-so-favorite company. Hi, Peggy.
Hi. I had a call twice this morning.
Uh-oh.
I got disconnected twice.
Uh-oh.
Press 5, press 4, press 3, press 2, and if you want to speak to somebody, really a human being, like you said, press 0. I got 0, and they said, oh, we're busy today, but if you wait 15 minutes, you can get on. Well, I told them, you know what I read today in the paper? Robots can mow your lawn. I'm just like you. I can't stand always pressing the buttons.
Yeah,
and
tough.
You go bananas. I called twice. It was over a half hour trying to get a human being. And then what I did, but this guy didn't know much. I got his name and the time I spoke to him and everything. And then he referred me to somebody else.
What company were you calling? What company gave you such top notch?
I called Social Security.
Oh, the government. Oh, great. That's even better.
50 years, and they got everything filed up on me.
Yeah, well, now you're talking the government. I mean, that's...
Right. Yeah.
I think a lot of these companies...
It's awful. I'm just like you, Dan, with all pressing these numbers. It's so aggravating. And, Richard, you must be a saint to take all these calls that you take.
Well, it's pretty amazing.
God bless you. I mean, I'm a lot like my dad. He was a sea captain, and he couldn't stand anybody half alive. He'd like to throw him overboard.
Remind me never go out on a boat with your dad, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Peggy, I love your calls. I'm so glad.
You didn't hop to it. No, I can't stand anybody that's half alive, and I'm pushing 90. Dear God.
All right, Peggy, we'll talk to you soon. Be well.
All right. This is a great subject. God bless you both.
You bet.
Good night.
Thanks, Peggy. Let me go to Linda in Ipswich. Linda, go right ahead. You are next with Richard Weylman. Go right ahead. All right. Now, where would Linda be? We'll put Linda on hold, Rob, since she wasn't quite ready. Let's go to Alex in Millis. Alex, what's your situation on this issue of customer service?
I have 3 companies and a government company. So the first one is the IRS, one of the charities that I donate to. No, I'm just being funny. Surprisingly enough, I was able to get through, but the first 2 times I got a call back, and I've got my cell phone, and I says hello, hello, and it got disconnected. The other 3 companies that I want to say, and they're getting awful, is Home Depot, CVS, and Walmart. And I go into Home Depot one day. I have a special order that I was waiting for. So when I went in, I says, very politely, I said, "How come you people don't answer the phone?" And the guy says, "Who are you to tell me what to do?" I says, "I'm sorry, I'm a customer." And you're supposed to, you're supposed to provide customer service. And he was really miffed because I was kind of, questioning why they didn't answer the phone.
See, now I go passive aggressive in Home Depot. I really go into Home Depot, don't go into Lowe's much either. And if I meet if I'm trying to find something, I'll basically say, "Could you tell me what aisle you have X, whatever, toaster ovens?" And when they have that deer in the headlight look, and you know that they don't have a clue, no matter what you've asked for, what aisle do you have lumber in? And they have the deer in the. I go passive aggressive. I say, "I'm sorry, they're wearing like the orange thing." I say, "I thought you worked here. My mistake," and I just walk away.
Yeah, right.
And they've lost their way. You're both exactly right. Home Depot used to be, you'd come in, you'd have somebody on every aisle.
Yep.
You wanted to buy a hammer, there'd be somebody on the hammer aisle. What kind of hammer? You'd leave with 4 hammers because they'd sell you 3 different hammers plus the one that you needed.
Yeah.
That's all gone. After the founders, after the we're 4 CEOs in. Now it's all about the transaction. It's about turning the inventory. It's about inventory.
Wasn't a guy named Tucci who turned it around?
Yeah, right. And it's changed the entire game. So the problem that's happened there is, once again, whether it's AI or whether it's in store, the issue is if you don't focus on people, that's it. And the truth of the matter is, when you walk into a store and you don't get the help you need, it makes a difference. Now, Walmart's making a shift. They've changed the aprons now. It used to say, can I help you? Now they've changed the aprons to say, how may I help you? So that's a little bit of a move in the right direction, but they still have some distance to go there.
Yeah,
Great point on.
I've had problems at CVS. CVS spends a lot of money rearranging what's in the different aisles in their stores.
Yeah,
and they're doing all that does is confuse customers. Go ahead, Richard. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they do it based upon what they see as called traffic patterns in a store. So it has nothing to do with service. It has everything to do where they're seeing traffic. People don't realize the cameras in these stores today are not just tracking people that are trying to sweep the shelves into a bag and run out the door, which we see around the country. What they're really tracking is the patterns of walk. So if they see people, let's say people of a certain age group working in a certain way, walking in a certain way, certain amount of aisles, they'll rearrange the stores to maximize what they call eyeballs on the products they think those individuals would buy.
Well,
that's what's going on.
That's overthinking it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Mark the aisles clearly what you're looking for, and have someone there who, when someone walks in and his insurance says, "Where can I find aspirin?" Okay.
How may I help you? How may I help you?
That's exactly it. Exactly it.
And let me go back to your comment about Harvard Business School with your daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. What are they teaching in Harvard Business Schools today? I can tell you what they're teaching is instead of marketing focusing on people, they're teaching merchandising as marketing, meaning you need to focus on the product. So we've got a whole generation of people that are in love with the product, the platform, the process, the procedures, et cetera. When the consumer, that's us, we're in love with the outcome and the experience. So there's a massive difference in what people are being taught to do, which is focus on the product and the platform and, get the aisles right and reorganize and let's cut down on the service response and let's instead focus on getting a greater transaction. When, in fact, the consumer, we're on the other side, we're saying, whoa. We're not interested in all your P's, platform, product, platform. What we're interested in is the experience we're going to have and the outcome we're going to get from the product we buy. That's the difference.
Alex, appreciate you calling. I'm past my break, so I got to let you run. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Back with Richard Weylman. We got John in Dedham, Christine in Dedham. We got Linda in Ipswich. Hopefully, we got a little bit of room for you. 617-254-1030, 617-931-1030. Back on Nightside, I could tell you about how many stores that I've gone into in my life, and I am not an expert like you are, Richard, but just from my own life experience, I'll tell you one about a supermarket chain back here, which I think is going to drive themselves into the ground. We'll be back on Nightside after this.
Now, back to Dan Ray, live from the Window World Nightside Studios on WBZ News Radio.
Let's get to, more important to get to phone callers. Let me go to, see if Linda in Ipswich is ready now. Linda, we missed you before. You ready?
Oh, yeah, I was here.
Well,
hi,
I didn't hear you, Linda, so go ahead. What's your question for Richard? Go right ahead.
Okay. Hi, Richard.
Hi.
I have a problem with Verizon. I have to pay an extra $3.50 to Bill Matrix every month to pay my bill, because I can't get onto the internet.
Well, that's a little off topic of what we're talking about tonight, Linda. I don't think that's an area that Richard can help you on. Richard, is there anything you can tell Linda on that or no?
Yeah, not really, except to say that what you can do is go to a public library or go to somewhere that has internet, and you can get an individual like a librarian. She can show you, or he can show you how to get online so you can pay your bill online and save that $3.50. If you have a library close to you, that'd be helpful, or a community center, or a center close by you, maybe even a bank that you do business with. You can go in and ask the individual that's sitting there, would you help me pay my bill? And they may be able to accommodate you by logging you in and helping you pay it online. Thank you.
That's a great suggestion. Thanks, Linda. Wish we could help you.
No, I can't get anywhere because I'm disabled. But thank you very much for taking the call.
All right,
Bye.
thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Good night. Let me go to John in Dedham. John, next on Nightside. Go right ahead.
Hey, yeah, guys. Not the reason I called, but I remember maybe 20, maybe 30 years ago, if you remember the magazine Business Week?
Yes.
And right on the cover, it was said, why customer service stinks or why it's not going to get better. And here we are 30 years later, and we're still going through this. But the main reason I called was, Dan, I think you used to have their representative on at least once a year from Comcast.
Yes.
Xfinity, wherever.
Yes.
And their customer service just gets worse every year. Where my cell phone is connected to my parents' cable, my office cable. So every time I call, they try to find my account based on my phone number. They have to go through all the records. Instead of just let me give my account number, they got to go through all the questions. I literally spend at least 8 to 12 minutes every time on recording before I even think of getting to a human.
Okay, I'll make a deal with you, John. Here's what I'll do. I'll make a note, and I'll try to get some folks in from Comcast in the next couple of weeks. Fair enough?
That would be great.
Yep. And if you follow me on Nightside Nation, and anyone can do that, or go to Nightside with Dan Ray on Facebook. We post every day around 4 o'clock in the afternoon what's coming up. I hope you'll listen every night, but you can check that during the day and find out when we'll have I'll call the Comcast people tomorrow. I promise you on that. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, John. Appreciate the suggestion. Next up is Christine in Dedham, one of my favorite callers. Hi, Christine. You're next on Nightside with Richard Weylman. Go right ahead.
What I have trouble with is CVS Pharmacy trying to ask about a prescription. You know, if I call in about prescriptions, it takes so long to go to speak to the pharmacist with the computer.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're always like, how can I help you? Let me help you first, and then I'll put you. It takes so long, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, they're not. I'm not a big fan of CVS. I'm a CVS customer out of necessity. I don't think that any of them, the pharmacies, are doing a particularly good job. Particularly, they were overwhelmed. Am I correct on that, Richard? During the COVID situation.
During COVID, that's exactly right. But there's been some, as an example, in the South, Publix, they just spent $70 million. With an $1 million upgrading their phone system. So when you call in, you can hit 0 and talk to a pharmacist, but you can type in your prescription number. It automatically said, yes, it is renewable. Yes, it is. Oh, we'll have to call the doctor. So the AI on the other side is recognizing your prescription number, giving you input so you don't have to get on the phone with a pharmacist. Wow, has that changed the game for them? Because it's really automated the process, but in a way, that makes a difference. CVS is way behind the curve on that. Way behind.
Christine, it's funny. CVS is a New England company. It's concentrated up here in New England, and they're everywhere. I just wish they could get their act together better because I've had the same problem with the pharmacies. They'll send you a text and say something's ready. You'll go there a half an hour later, and they say, no, it's not. Can you go back? Which I don't understand.
But I do say I want to speak to pharmacists, and they still don't let you through. It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, maybe someone from CVS is listening tonight, and we'll see. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Christine. I got to get one more in, okay? Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Christine. I'm going to try to get one more in here in time. Let me go to Beatrice in Bridgewater. Beatrice, you are on with Richard Weylman. Go right ahead, Beatrice.
Well, I was hearing the comments about the service in the Lowe's and Home Depot. And I just want to tell you, I have a friend who's legally blind. I took her to Lowe's today. She was looking for a specific item. Mm-hmm. We asked the first person we saw. He didn't know, but he right away called somebody. That person came over, told us exactly where to go. We were halfway there, and 2 people said, can I help you find something? I mean, it was wonderful today. We got what we wanted and got out in 5 minutes.
Well, that's
and
good.
I just wanted,
put one on the scoreboard for Lowe's. They got
I do have great luck with Walgreens. I hate CVS, but I have to go through them for my mail-away prescriptions. But for anything else, I go to Walgreens, and I have great luck there.
Okay, great. All right, we'll end on a positive note. Thanks, Beatrice. Appreciate it. Richard, there's a big company up out of the Northwest that is buying up supermarkets called Albertsons.
Right. Know it well.
Yeah, and they're horrific at this point. They're trying to make everybody get digital coupons as opposed to just putting coupons in newspapers, and then they keep changing the system, which confuses people. Horrible, absolutely horrible. Has forced me to change my loyalty to a supermarket to another supermarket. I'm now a Demoulas supermarket shopper, and I have to go 10 miles out of my way, but it's worth the aggravation.
They're going to self-checkout, but they're not reducing the price of the product, so the margins are better for them. And grocery business is a tight margin anyway. But let's get rid of all the cashiers that we can't interface with, have a conversation with, build a relationship with. And instead of that, make you self-serve yourself through it, and they'll have one person working for 6 self-serves just to get you processed in there. Yeah. And it's just crazy.
Which burns out the employee, by the way, because the employee at some point just says, well, this is ridiculous. Richard, how can folks give us your website? I'm up on my 10 o'clock newscast here. You've been a great guest. You exceeded my expectations, which were quite high. How can folks get in touch with you?
Well, Dan, thank you so much. It's Richard Weylman, WEYLMAN.com. You can go to richardweylman.com. You can reach out to me about speaking at your conferences. As Dan knows, I'm in the Keynote Speaker Hall of Fame. I also do a great deal of consulting on customer experience, customer service. My new book is out, 100 Proven Ways to Acquire and Keep Clients for Life, available everywhere, including Amazon and all the rest. You can go to my website, Richard, WEYLMAN.com. I've also just put up about 20 short video vignettes that you can show at your sales meetings, shows to your staff if you're a business owner, on how to elevate the experience. They're like 2 minutes long, but they're great little vignettes you can show. They're all free. Just enjoy them. I just want to help you elevate the experience so that you get the lifetime value out of that relationship with those clients and customers. Thank you so much for having me, Dan.
You've helped a lot of people tonight, Richard. I can't thank you enough. We will have you back, and we'll have you back sooner than you think.
I'll look forward to it, brother. We'll have a great time together.
Absolutely. Hope to meet you someday. Thanks, Richard.